Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Good morning. Welcome to the pre-meeting of the Newark Municipal Council on Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. Council President, council members, I just want to bring to your attention that the television studio is down and cannot record this proceedings. This meeting will be uploaded afterwards and will be aired for the public.
So what, just to be clear, it's not going to be televised live, but it will be recorded and played on our channel 78.
Yes, sir. Council President, council members, we are on page 3 of the agenda. Item 5, reports and recommendations of city officers, boards, and commissions.
Any questions? Next item.
Ordinances, public hearing, second reading, and final passage. 6P SFA is an ordinance amending the Division of Central Purchasing by adding a new section dealing with policies and procedures governing the use of procurement cards.
Any questions? Next item.
6P SFB is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to 566-570 Springfield Urban Renewal LLC for a project to construct 22 market-rate residential rental units in the Central Ward.
Any questions? Okay. Next item.
C is an ordinance amending special improvement districts by amending the properties included in the special improvement district to remove all the Class 2 residential properties and authorizing the tax collector to withhold from each quarterly payment 1% as an administrative fee.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, next item.
D is an ordinance granting a 20-year tax abatement to Rising Plains Urban Renewal LLC for a project to construct a new 4-story residential building in the West Ward.
Any questions?
Council President, I just have a question regarding, going back to C, if Frank is here. Frank, have everything been removed from the business improvement districts regarding because I was still getting complaints regarding people still getting, like with condos, 111 Mulberry, they were still getting charged on their taxes for the fourth quarter. Are they still going to get charged for the first and second quarter? Is that what I understand, or it's being removed totally?
It's Frank D'Alessio, tax assessor. Good morning, Councilman. Yes, they're going to be on for the first and second quarter, as I understand it.
Anything else, Councilman?
Is there a reason that's happening, that we're going into the second quarter, first quarter of when we voted on this, when we spoke about this a few months ago? Why are people still being charged?
Let me get back to you on that.
Okay.
All right.
E is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to Broadway Star Urban Renewal LLC for a project to construct a new 7-story multifamily rental building in the North Ward.
Any questions on this matter? Seeing none?
F is an ordinance authorizing the vacation of existing utility easement.
Questions? Next item.
G is an ordinance authorizing the use to acquire a permanent easement in order for the City of Newark's Department of Water and Sewer Utilities to clean, repair, replace, inspect, operate, and otherwise maintain in an unobstructed condition a system of water, stormwater, and sanitary sewer drainage pipelines.
Any questions from the council? Next item.
H is an ordinance amending special improvement districts by clarifying reporting requirements and designating a district management corporation, striking the hiring practices in triennial review, and establishing a board of trustees and establishing an effective date.
Any questions, council? Seeing none, next item.
I is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to 74-78 Webster Urban Renewal LLC for a project to demolish the existing structures and construct a new 5-story multifamily building in the Central Ward.
Any questions from the council? Next item.
J is an ordinance amending and supplementing businesses and occupations, regulation of convenience stores, registration of all new and pre-existing convenience stores to create a subsection prohibited distance from existing convenience stores, and to further include the increasing of fines and penalties set forth in the violations and penalties, sponsored by Councilman Council, second by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Any questions? Next item.
Resolutions. 7R1A is a use of state contract for computer equipment.
Any questions? Seeing none, next item.
B is CDBG's budget appropriation.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, next item.
C,
I'm sorry, Councilman Gonzalez.
Can we go back to A? This is a huge sum of money, $10 million. We can't hear you, sir. This is a huge sum of money, $10,185,000. I would like to see what we're buying with that kind of money.
Anyone from the administration? I see the BA just walked in. I know probably didn't hear the question. I don't know, Councilman Gonzalez, can you repeat the question? The BA just came in.
Yeah, Mr. BA, it's Happy New Year to you. I just wanted to know what we're buying with the $10,185,000 for computers that is proposed on 1A.
We have one of the, okay, all right.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
Deputy Director Leo Carrillo, Department of Public Safety, Newark PD. Looks like this is a resolution adopted in April of 2022 regarding vehicles, hybrids, plug-in vehicles, police cars. And again, this is just an extension through April 27, 2024 for the same that was adopted.
And
before.
why does it say NASPO computer equipment contract?
I'll look into exactly finding out exactly why it's called, why it's under that NASPO.
You have some assistance behind you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Council.
Good
Morning.
morning.
NASPA is a national contract. It's a
I hate to
national
ask you this, but
cooperative
can we just get
contract.
your name for the record? just so
My
we
name
can-
is Juan Uribe, Director of Purchasing and QPA of the City of Newark. NASPA is a national cooperative contract that the police has been using for years to purchase public safety equipment.
Including
That was previously
including,
authorized.
including cars and computers and all that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
A lot of public safety equipment.
All right, thank
You're welcome.
you. Next item. Or going back to, what are we on, 7R1C or D?
we're on page 10, item C.
Okay.
Orlando, you have to come.
C is a cooperative purchasing agreement to provide fencing purchase, installation, and repair services.
Any questions from the council? Councilman Ramos.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I want to go back to 7R1B, city's appropriation for CDBG funds. I know some years ago, the city made the decision to basically utilize CDBG funds for in-house functions, paving roads, funding positions out of the health department, economic development. And some years back, these resources were made available to various non-for-profit organizations and community-based groups who were doing brick and mortar projects to fund public services. So my question through your chair and the clerk for the BA is at what point is the city going to consider or reconsider allowing non-for-profit groups and community-based organizations to apply for assistance under the CDBG program? I know there is a cap on how much money the city could spend on public services. I think it's a 15% cap. But I think in this environment, it would be helpful for non-for-profit organizations throughout the city to have the opportunity to partner with us under the CDBG program.
Yeah, I do, Councilman Quintana.
Concur with Councilman Ramos, because if Director of Economic Development and the BA will look into the procedure, I was one of those who fought CDBG grants when it was defunding from Congress with the National League of Cities. What Councilman Ramos is talking about is what other cities around the country are doing, whether it be infrastructure, whether it be roads, not on the economic development aspect, but on the service. That's what Councilman Ramos has been talking about. And again, we can look at the pattern of when other cities within the National League of Cities are doing with CDBG grants, so that we are not going, we should follow the model of what is going on with the recommendation of National League of Cities in behalf of CDBG grants, because we were the organization at the time that fought for CDBG grants because of what Councilman Ramos is talking about: infrastructure, roads, bridges. These things have to come back, and I concur with Councilman Ramos's recommendation that be looked at, but we need to look at the pattern of what National League of Cities, and I would ask the Director of Economic Development to go into the website of National League of Cities and look what other cities around the country are doing and what initiatives are taking place within the 5 wards of the city. Not just one ward, not 2 wards, all 5. Thank you.
You, Councilman. Yeah, I do. Yes, I do recall in the past being on a committee in which we voted, reviewed applications for different not-for-profits and provided funding, I believe, not just programmatically, but also for their structure, building structure. I think that worked well at some point.
Yeah, and through you, Mr. President, understanding that the city has needs and it will utilize a percentage of these funds for, much needed in-house services and infrastructure. But, we do have organizations in each ward that are doing amazing work out in the community that could benefit from the opportunity to compete. It's not a guarantee. The city in the past has had an RFP process and allowed these groups to come up with programs, some of them brick and mortar projects, right? It's very hard to get funding to build handicap ramps, to do other kinds of improvements, and these funds will be, could be eligible for those kind of uses. So.
Yeah, thank you, Councilman Ramos. Through Madam Clerk, can we follow up with the Business Administrator?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
D is the use of a state contract for firefighter protective clothing and equipment and their authorized distributors.
Any questions? Next item.
E is a bid contract for dental equipment.
Questions? Next item.
F is to provide a resolution of support for Herbarium Dispensary LLC to operate a Class 1 cannabis cultivation microbusiness.
Any questions? So I have one question or just a request. If we can get a list of all the approved the cannabis licenses that the council has approved for the administration, with the administration, and then also like where they are in their process.
Mr. President,
Councilman Gonzalez.
where they are located, I would like to know.
All right. Let's add that to the list.
Where's
The location.
What's the farm?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Yes, Councilman Ramos.
And I appreciate the fact that I'm on the committee with Councilman Council and Councilman Silva, but I still don't understand like the secrecy involved in like information that's shared with the council about this. This is a public authorization that they're getting from the council, from the state, and everything is redacted like it's top secret information. And these places are going to open up in the neighborhood, in the community. There's no secrecy involved. So I don't understand why the resolutions don't have any kind of detail when they come before us, because we forget, right? We meet with these folks, we vet them out through the committee, and then by the time it reaches the council, you got to refer back to something. So.
I agree with you. I don't know if you remember Councilman Ramos in the beginning. There was one that I was able to, it was redacted in our documentation, but I just Googled it and found all the information right there. So we may want to take a look at that again. Any other from the council? Corporation Counsel.
Sure. Good morning, Kenyatta Store, City of Newark Corporation Council. So I did hear the request from you, Councilman Crump. Couldn't hear your request, Councilman Gonzalez.
Where are they located?
Okay. And then, Councilman Ramos, what I will do is follow up with, I will have Jocelyn follow up with the folks from the state to see if it's appropriate to add the information. At one point or another, they
I
told
know.
us not to.
It's not us, it's the state
Right.
right there.
So what I'll do is I'll have her follow up to see if they have changed the process, and then, if we can do it, we will.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Councilman Gonzalez.
Yes, how people, let's say, that might be opposed to the location of this would know that that they have the opportunity to go and protest because they don't want that kind of business in their neighborhood. It's if they don't have the address, they cannot let's say do it effectively because they don't know where to do it.
I believe we have someone coming up.
Hi, good morning.
morning.
Jocelyn Wingfield, Cannabis Affairs. So I think there's a bit of confusion about what should be redacted and what should not be redacted. So the actual location of the proposed dispensaries, it's something that could be shared with the public as well as the council. In terms of the public knowing what type of facility will be coming into their neighborhood, oftentimes when we have applicants that submit their application, we make it a point to have them speak to their respective councilmen, so that the councilman is aware of that this applicant will potentially open up a dispensary or a cannabis facility within their neighborhood, and we encourage them to have community meetings so that the public is fully aware of what's happening.
Mr. President,
Yeah, Councilman.
don't they have to go before zoning too? Like, isn't that a requirement in this process?
That is a requirement in this process, but they don't go before zoning typically until they meet with the subcommittee and their
Yeah, but if
application.
zoning rejects their application, they can't open their business, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that would be the point of notification to, I guess, the community. But at that point, they would have to detail everything, which is why I don't understand why the stuff we get is so heavily guarded, like when they apply to zoning, they have to detail the address, the kind of establishment.
So the state kind of requires that we keep some of this information confidential, specifically about, I'm not going to say the applicants in general, but perhaps some of their donors or specific information in terms of funding for the project. However, I could reconvene with the state, and I'll reconvene with you all just to see what we can make visible to the public moving forward.
Mr. President,
Yeah, Councilman.
you said that you urge them to have a community meeting. When in the tax abatement committee, we've required people to have a community meeting. I believe that you should require them to have a community meeting so that, in fact, they are informing the community of what's happening around them.
So again, yeah, we encourage the applicant to meet with the respective councilmen so that they can set up a community meeting so that people are aware of what's coming to the city.
I don't like the encouragement. I
Mhm.
like required.
Required.
That's what I like. They say, I believe that when they submit the application to you, there should be a requirement that they meet with the community.
Understandable.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
G is an application and agreements with HUD for the one-year action plan.
Any questions? Next item.
H is application acceptance of grant funds for the Coronavirus State Fiscal Recovery Fund monies for the Newark Literacy Initiative Program.
Any questions from the council? Next item.
7R2A,
I'm sorry, Councilman Gonzalez. You're like one behind us,
I'm
Councilman.
a little bit behind. do we have more money than, let's say, from this legislation available?
Question on the floor?
Mr. BA, do we have more money available, and how are we going to dispose of it?
Good morning, Eric Pennington, Business Administrator. More money with respect to, Councilman? I'm not clear.
ARPA money?
Yeah, there's a $1 million grant that we're giving to the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, or we're getting that from them?
We're getting it from the Department of Community Affairs, 2 grants from them with respect to literacy program and to purchase fire equipment.
So the city doesn't have any more funds regarding that legislation?
Less than 0.1% of the allocated ARPA funds are available and have already all been obligated.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so I got a question, a general question.
Yes.
So at least I think municipally, we had to spend the money from ARPA by a certain date. Is that it for the state? Is it extended date? Is past the end of the year?
2 things. I think with respect to your question, it had to be obligated by December 31st. Certain of the funds had to be obligated by December 31st. It just passed. Spending can go through 2026 in certain circumstances. For the most part, it has to be spent by the end of 2025. The state has similar restrictions, but depending upon the specific purposes for the funds. So that's one of the reasons why we had to obligate the funds for the fire apparatus. We wanted to get that in. All those documents have been signed and sent back to DCA to satisfy the obligation requirements. So there are similar rules, but it is allocation specific, though.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? All right. Thank you, Mr. BA.
You're welcome.
Next item.
7R2A through F are private sales and redevelopment agreements. A is for the new construction of a 2-family home and provide 2 market rate rental units in the South Ward.
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna ask the item be deferred.
Is there a second for the deferment?
B is new construction of 2 2-family homes to sell at market rate in the West Ward.
Councilman?
I asked that item be deferred as well.
Second for that?
Second.
Second by council.
C is to rehabilitate a 3-family home to provide affordable rental units in the South Ward.
I'd like to move the item.
So I'm sorry, say again?
Yeah, I'd like to move the item.
All right. Next item.
D is to renovate the property to use as a community outreach center in the West Ward.
I'd like for that item to be deferred as well, please.
Is there a second for deferment?
Second. E is new construction of a 3-family home wherein 1 unit will be owner occupied and the other 2 units will be affordable in the South Ward.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move the item.
All right. Next item.
F is construction of 2 buildings consisting of 16 affordable housing units through rehabilitation and new construction, and construction of 42 market rate residential units located on the portion of property known on South 17th Street. And 3 is construction of 18 market rate residential units, all in the South Ward.
Any questions? Next item.
7R2G through K are professional services contracts. For on-call, G is for on-call environmental consulting. H is for planning consulting services. I is for on-call environmental consulting. And J is for real estate appraisal services. K is for planning consulting services as well.
Any questions on that? Seeing none, next item.
Mr. President.
Sorry, what was that, Councilman Ramos?
Yeah, I mean, going back to the property sales, I'd like to make a suggestion through your chair and the clerk. when we get these, would it be possible for the department to give us a summary of all the LOIs that they receive for these individual properties, let's say within a 5-year period, and then the criteria that they used to evaluate and recommend those entities that they're putting before us? I think that would make me feel a little more comfortable in voting for some of these. You know, I'm sure they got multiple letters of intent for some of these properties, and they selected someone, right? So what was the process that they looked at in order to come up with that group or individual that they're recommending and asking us to consider?
All right, so right now we get information on the property itself. Now we want to get some more information on the back.
Yeah, this is moving forward. Yeah, if they, you know, I'm sure there's a 5-year period where they can say, all right, we got 7 letters of intent for this particular property, and we reviewed those proposals. We're recommending this one because of this reason.
Similar to what the departments do when they recommend a vendor or something like that.
Yes.
That was something, okay.
Yeah, because we're only getting the recommendation. I can't tell you how many people submitted letters of intent for a particular property. It could have been 20 individuals or entities that submitted for this property. Why are you selecting this one? Who else, you know, expressed interest?
Great. And Madam Clerk, just to follow up, if you could follow up with the councilman, just to make sure we got everything he's referring to.
7R2L and M are investigations for area in need of redevelopment. L is property in the North Ward, and M is property in the Central Ward.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, next item.
7R2N and O are agreements with government entity. N is for Riverside Avenue Site Tolling Agreement. And O is a settlement agreement with the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection for the former White Chemical site.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, next item.
7R3A is designating a bus stop on Bergen Street in West Runyon in the South Ward.
Any questions? Next item.
7R4A is cancellation of special emergency appropriation to cancel previously adopted ordinance which authorize a special emergency appropriation and the issuance of special emergency notes.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, next item.
7R5A through C are amending and/or application acceptance of grant funds. A is amending resolution to accept additional grant funds for the Seton Hall University School of Nursing Nurse-Led Mobile Health Training Program Training Project Grant. B is to extend the grant period and increase the award amount to continue conducting lead remediation. And C is to provide Ryan White HIV/AIDS-related health and support services.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, next item.
7R6A is professional service contract with First Amendment to the agreement to provide legal services concerning special tax matters.
Any questions? Next item.
7R7A is the First Amendment to the agreement with state entity. First Amendment to the contract with the state entity to provide psychiatric nurse practitioners, peer recovery specialists, and medical director for a newly formed community mobile outreach program that will provide field-based services to homeless Newark residents with substance use disorders.
Any questions? Seeing none.
7R7B through E are subrecipient agreements to respond to the public health impact of homelessness. B is with Bridges Outreach Incorporated. C is Collaborative Support Programs of New Jersey. D is North Jersey Community Research Initiative. And E is Newark Emergency Services for Families.
Mr. President, if I may.
Councilman Gonzalez.
I see that these grants are for 20,000. How effective can they be with $20,000? Is that what they requested, or is that something that we determine?
Morning, Louis Valerio, Director, Office of Homeless Services. These 4 partnerships are actually with existing drop-in centers, who some are here today. to support the mayor's strategy to create more accessible entry points for people to access emergency services. Currently, folks have to travel from all across the city to 110 William Street. We know that not everyone can make that trip. So what we decided to do is to partner with existing drop-in centers who actually are located close to transit and in our communities where folks can enter, receive not just emergency housing services, but also a long list of other services they will provide. This is actually a partnership, with Director Alsbrook and the Office of Homeless Services. We came together to really look at what the current space looks like right now. We knew that it wasn't adequate, so that's when we decided to kind of reach out to our existing drop-in centers who are already doing this work. So to answer your question, Councilman Gonzalez, this is really just to supplement their existing personnel. They are going to designate someone on their staff, and this will contribute to their salary. And that person will then serve as the new point of contact for individuals who are coming in. We have developed a system now through QuickBase, actually, where this person is going to be able to access all the available beds that the city has contracted.
So they are not going to provide, let's say, the services themselves. They are going to send people to the different shelters.
Correct. Yeah. So right now, the way it works that everyone comes to one location, right?
Mhm.
So now we're going to decentralize it. We're going to put it out in the community, make it easier for folks, our seniors, people with disabilities to access these points. And now we're going to empower them now to make these referrals directly to our shelters.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Director.
And Council President, I just want to say that some of the organizations are here today, if you have also any questions for them.
Anybody have any questions for them?
No, thank you.
Not right now, thank you, though. Next item.
7R8A is ceremonial street designation for Minnie Allen, sponsored by Council President Crump.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Council.
7R8B is recognizing and commending resolutions, and 7R8C is expressing profound sorrow and regret.
Any questions, additions? Seeing none?
7R12A through F are professional service contract for engineering services on an as-needed basis. A is for CDM Smith. B is for Michael Baker International. C is for Morehouse Engineering. D is for Mott McDonald. E is for professional consulting. F is for Remington and Varnick Engineers.
Any questions? So let me just say, I just want to follow up on my request. I think it was last meeting or 2 meetings ago regarding all of 2024, the list of the contracts with each vendor and how much was spent in that year in 2024. Thank you.
Yes, sir. 7R12G is application acceptance of grant funds, New Jersey Public Utilities Clean Fleet Program.
Any questions? Next item.
8A is an ordinance granting a 20-year tax abatement to KS 486 Market Street Urban Renewal LLC for a project to construct 17 market rate residential rental units and 2 affordable housing rental units restricted to tenants at 60% of area median income in the East Ward.
Any questions?
Mr. President, I understand that
Councilman Gonzalez?
there's a request to move this and approve it on first. I understand that there is a request to approve it on first.
Advance and adopt?
Yeah, advance and adopt it.
All right. As a whole, advance and adopt? Okay. Next item.
8B is an ordinance granting a 20-year tax abatement to Mount Pleasant Apartments Urban Renewal LLC for a project to construct a new 5-story multifamily residential building consisting of 24 residential rental units, consisting of 19 market rate residential rental units, 5 affordable housing rental units, of which 1 unit shall be restricted to tenants at 40% of area median income. 2 units shall be restricted to tenants at 60% AMI and 2 units shall be restricted to tenants at 80% AMI in the Central Ward.
Any questions?
Mr.
Councilman
President.
Ramos.
Yeah, I'd like to make the same request as Councilman Gonzalez to advance and adopt.
Same thing? Okay. Advance and adopt as a whole.
Got it. 8C is an ordinance amending traffic by designating 15th Avenue and South 13th Street as a multi-way stop sign intersection in the Central Ward.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none.
Public comment? We are now in the 30-minute public comment portion of this meeting where each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Please approach the podium and direct your comments to the council. Is there anyone wishing to speak?
Yes.
Good morning, George Tillman.
Morning.
Jr. I gave all of you a flyer. You should have it before you. That was generated by the city of Newark. Somewhere there's a definition of insanity, which says that if you continue to do things the same way, thinking you're going to get a different result, it's insanity. This event, when we left the meeting with the administration discussing these tax abatements and how Newark residents were going to be a part of these economic incentives. My opposition wasn't the tax abatements. It was the strategies on how we're going to get Newark residents to work right now. And this is an indication of exactly why Newark residents aren't working right now. No one is aware of this event. This event is only up on Facebook. I don't even know if the council was given this flyer to inform your residents that there's going to be a hiring event here tomorrow, so you can contact the residents in your ward, the nonprofits in your ward, and all the organizations in your ward, so they can be here tomorrow, so that we can have qualified Newark residents as a part of these economic incentives. Doing things the same way, the deputy mayor has been doing these things the same way and talking about there's no workforce available, out there available, doing this the same way. Tomorrow you'll be here, you'll see maybe 30 Newark residents going to show up out of over 300,000. Because these events aren't brought into the community the same way you come into the community when you do a campaign. When I submitted to you when the BA asked me for a proposal for a way we get Newark residents to work over the next 24 months. I gave him a plan to recruit residents at about 10,000 over the next 24 months. This strategy is not going to work. I asked Council President that you have Newark Works come up here and the deputy mayor give a strategy on how they're going to get Newark residents to work right now. This is not the strategy. There's no way we're going to accept, Newark residents going to accept you giving out tax abatements when this is the strategy that you're using to get us to work. This is not a citywide campaign. That strategy I gave you was a very aggressive strategy that we go into the community, involve all the nonprofit organizations and all the stakeholders in each ward to make sure that we get our community involved in this process. This is not it, Councilwoman Roundtree. And I'm not only continue to request that you bring them up here and give a plan of action, how we're gonna get Newark residents to work. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Happy 2025. So first of all, thank you, Councilman Ramos, for bringing up, Deborah Salters, City of Newark, for bringing up the question about the CBDG funds, because the last CBDG funds that we gave away was the $5 million that we gave to Quieter Towers, right? In addition to a 25-year tax abatement, in addition to the developer would have walked away with that project, having walked away with $3 million, having put up no funds, and the same Quieter Towers that we're in litigation for, right? But we gave them our $5 million CBDG funds, even though we asked you all not to do it. You initially said no, but then you were bullied to say yes later by at that time, the council president. So Thank you for that. Because where are all of these community-based funds going? Not to the community. And that is the point. Again, we gave away 5 million. Where is that money? And we're in litigation for these same quieter towers. Where did that 5 million go? Did we recoup that? Like, what is up with that? When it comes to the homeless, like I'm looking at these grants for people's salary, because simply if they're just directing people to the shelters, well, I do that on a daily basis. I make phone calls. The people in this community do that on a daily basis. No shade to the individuals who are being contracted, but when we are doing this already, you all don't partner with the community. That's the issue. Right? We're here in these streets, on the streets, making the phone calls, taking people to places, making sure that they can get off the streets. What's up with Code Blue? But you don't want to work with the community. And you go outside and source these other companies when we're boots on the ground and have been, long before many of you have, or a few of you are even sitting up there. So where are our community dollars? What happened to that? What are we doing with this money here? It does not benefit the community. And a mural and flowers is not a community benefit. We need actual low to moderate income housing. That is not happening in this city. We need jobs that pay our people to live in what you all call affordable. But you're not doing that because you clearly don't care. And we will keep saying that because what you care for, you provide for. You make provision for your family and friends and people that you care about. Those who need jobs that are your friends and family and on your roll, you make it happen. When the regular citizen of this city cannot afford to live in what you call affordable because you won't pay them.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker. Seeing none, public speaking is closed. Anything from the council?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Councilman, council.
Just for public notification, there was a reevaluation meeting that we were going to host on January 9th, but due to the request of the administration, we're going to cancel the reevaluation meeting. And we just want to make sure that everyone, knows that information, and we'll, try to provide information as we move forward. So just wanted to, let that be known while we're on telecast, that the meeting that was going to be held January 9th at George Washington Carver is going to be canceled.
Thank you, Councilman, council. Anything else from the council? Anything from the administration? Councilman, I'm almost saying, cool, why do you keep doing
Add
that?
one, brother.
Corporation council.
It's the wrong council. It's council with the E. Good morning, Kenyatta Source, City of Newark Corporation Council. So one of the things that I will say is that, first thing is that we have one potential added starter from the engineering department. I will say that it is important. It is in reference to having third-party inspectors.
I hate to say that.
Third-party inspectors get involved. I know the director will come down in a few seconds. I do know that there was some comments about Coway the Towers. I know that the matter has been resolved some time ago. I can get back to the council with the details of the resolution, but that matter has been resolved maybe 2 years ago.
So just so clarified, there's no litigation with
It's done.
Towers. Okay. And the other thing you said was about an item for
Engineering.
starter.
Engineering.
You have a Legistar number for that?
I do.
Good morning, Council President, Council members. Dolores Martinez Wooden, Director of the Department of Engineering. I'm here to present Legistar item 24-1688. This line item will enable the purchasing and engineering department to be able to go out to bid for third-party inspections to supplement the inspecting unit of the UCC. This will be to follow guidelines by the DCA and to be under the oversight of the building official of the UCC here in the city of Newark.
So this is the authorization for you to go out there?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Mr. Chair,
Councilman
So
Council.
speaking to that matter, I really do think that we need to, dive a little deeper into this whole third-party issue, the pros and cons of it with this, being an added starter, and looking at some of the stuff that we've already been going through with UCC this year. We've asked continuously for the amount of dollars that has been brought in through penalties or fines that has been assessed. They haven't gotten that information. And then just the polarity of looking at how this thing would work out. The third-party vendor would probably make more money than the city, and we're not hiring anyone else to bring in, revenue or income to the city. I think this matter should be fleshed out and vetted instead of being rushed out there, as a third party and me having to vote no on it. I would rather for us to have some conversation about it.
Councilman,
Response?
Council, if you may, I just want to make a clarification. This is a separate item versus utilizing third-party inspections by people outside of the city, by developers and such. So this is strictly to supplement our inspecting unit here in the city. We are having challenges across the state when it comes to finding inspectors. We are working with the BA, the administration, and the mayor to allocate and find, gaps that we have in our salaries and so on and so forth. So in the meantime, this is a solution that we can utilize as a city to have more inspectors, to avoid a backlog, and also to further, as you said before, investigate what it will mean for the city to allow outside builders and developers to utilize third party as well. So this is internal at the UCC, bringing in more inspectors. A company, the successful company, will be providing those inspectors under our oversight.
Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
I agree with Councilman Council on this issue, that for this to be an added starter with what's going on with our engineering department on many levels, UCC is just one of them. And it's a trickling effect of what's going on with the revenue. And some time ago, Councilman Council addressed what's going on with UCC, and I don't think we've ever even got to the bottom of that. So since we have not even gotten the answers and the issues that we needed resolved with UCC that he requested months ago, I am in agreement with my colleague regarding to, rather than this be an added starter, for us to dive a little deeper into what you're requesting for this third party. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Anything else from the council? Councilman?
Yeah. Good morning, Director. I just want to reiterate what Councilman Council said. We never got a response back on how many fines, how much money that the city doesn't have because we weren't doing our jobs. I think the key is here, Director, is why you can't find inspectors is we don't offer a competitive salary. We don't offer a competitive salary. How are you going to get qualified people to do the job if we don't order a competitive salary, if we don't have it? And I think having a third party is actually only going to cost the city more money. It's going to affect a lot of people in your office that aren't going to be too happy. And I think we have to get a little more information on this before we bring this to a vote tomorrow and move this forward. But again, I think the problem with the city is we don't get qualified people because we don't offer them a qualified and competitive salary. And to bring in a third party is only going to cost the city more money. Yes, it's going to bring you more inspectors, but at the end of the day, it's going to cost the city more money. I don't see any benefit in that. But I agree, before I vote on this, I'm going to need a little more information.
Councilman Silva, again, as I mentioned before, I just want to clarify that this is a temporary solution. And I want to clarify that we are working. The last quarter of last year, we put together a proposal for the administration to review to upgrade and update the salaries of our inspecting and subcode unit at the UCC. As you can understand, we need to evaluate it financially with budget procedures and everything that needs to be done so that we can move forward to increasing the salaries, but we are working with the administration on that. This is something that we're putting in place so that with the amount of development out there, we need to put something in place right away while we don't have those enticing salaries. So we are working on that with the administration.
Councilman Quintana.
No, Councilman Ramos now.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see Ramos. Okay.
Yeah, I think this is a catch-22, right? Because I understand, and we hear it on the other side, from the development community about how difficult it is to conduct business in the city of Newark, the delays, the amount of time that it takes to get approvals. We also recognize, like you said, that, and this has to be part of your justification when you submit this in writing is, how many positions do you have that are unfilled in your unit? What efforts have you undertaken to fill those positions? What kind of backlog do you have right now that is urging your department to seek this temporary fix? And the other thing I would caution against is that sometimes these kind of contracts are relied upon beyond the temporary period. We've seen it with the health department, for example, years ago that they started using a staffing company, and it's been years that company has kind of supplanted positions that were within the health department. So I'm hopeful that once you submit your justification, and if this council approves this, that this is in fact a temporary fix. And to your point, Newark isn't the only area that's struggling with inspectors right now. This is statewide, elevator inspectors, the individuals who held these positions have in many instances reached retirement age, and we're not able to generate enough candidates to fill many of these specialized positions that require all these certifications. So, it is a tough situation. You got to meet the demand as far as inspections, but then at the same time, I agree with our colleagues. We have to make sure that we're not going to over rely on these contracts and not try to do our best to recruit people to fill these important positions.
Thank you,
Councilman Ray.
Councilman Quintana first, then Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
We can't put Band-Aids on things, and that's what happens. And we have had a lot of inspectors that wind up in Passaic, who have left us, who are great inspectors,
Yes.
and we did not keep them. So we did a bad job in terms of people who have left, who knew the city. The people you're bringing don't know where Adams Street is. I mean, the other folks, they knew. So we need to be training some folks to get their license in an appropriate way so they can be our inspectors. The vehicles, these people's vehicles, it was this previous council who appropriated vehicles for the inspectors. Their cars are out of date. They got to go through all kinds of parts of the city. So we need to look at the conditions where they work, what they are, but instead of putting Band-Aids and bring people in here that don't know where anything is. By the time they find Avon Avenue, it'll be a year. So I'm being honest, and we have to not put Band-Aids. We have an engineering school at NJIT that we should be talking to them, to the students, if they're interested in getting a license and being certified to be an inspector. I mean, you're not asking somebody to be an engineer. You're asking someone to be an inspector of code of UCC. Elevators inspections in this town, you've got to wait a year to get an inspection, and it's atrocious. So we all got to not put Band-Aids and bring people in, and I concur with Council. We need to find out, and we need to help you, and let us drive this together, not just drive it through your side. Let's all drive it together as a team.
Thank you, Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Again, to Councilman Council and my colleagues and their requests, I am asking, I'm going to say now for the record, I will not support this with a vote until we've gotten all the information we've requested from you regarding the UCC department. I myself have had meetings with some of the individuals that report to UCC, and there's a lot of issues. And so before we bring in, once again, an outside source for the city to have to pay for people that we should have here being able to do their job, being in the mindset to be positive, to get the job done from the top down, being encouraged, the moral of the department, morale of the department. So yes, we are short, but we also have to encourage those that are there to want to do the job and not show favoritism and not have issues with the leadership. So I'm just saying for now, I don't know what my colleagues plan to do, but I will not support this added starter until Councilman Council has gotten what he requested and until Councilman Ramos has gotten the documents they requested. There's no reason for us to have to spend additional money, once again, for outside sources to do a job that we should be doing in-house and making sure that we prepare in-house to get the job done, whatever that takes. Thank you so very much, Council President.
Thank you. And so let's just wrap this up. Based upon what I've heard here today, should not be an added starter for the meeting. We do have a meeting next week. In the meantime, director and BA and whoever is necessary, please provide those necessary information that was requested by the council. This will be on the agenda properly next week without an added starter, and then we can move forward and the council can make that decision to vote.
Certainly appreciate it, Council President. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything else from the council, from the administration? Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.